Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Masih Sarliana. Today I'm going to present about political system, which is in chapter 6 in subject political science. Political system that I focus on is in Luxembourg. According to the best 2020 best countries, the following are the 10 countries seen as the most politically stable. So, I choose Luxembourg because it has been one of the best political stable in the world as well as the wealthiest country in Europe. First and foremost, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg is a landlocked country in Western Europe, with Belgium to the west, France to the south, and Germany to the east. Luxembourg is one of the smallest countries, which is top 20 ranking as well as the wealthiest country in the European Union. The citizens also enjoy the high standard of living there. Besides, Luxembourg is a major center for large private banking, and its finance sector is the biggest contributor to its economy. The country's main trading partners are Germany, France, and Belgium. By the way, the Grand Duke of Luxembourg is Henry, while the Prime Minister is Xavier Bettel, and also their government system is unitary parliamentary constitutional monarch. The Grand Duchy of Luxembourg has been an independent, sovereign state since the Treaty of London of 19 April 1839. Luxembourg also has a distinctive characteristic. It's the only Grand Duchy in the world. In 1919 years, the revision of the Constitution and the introduction of universal suffrage marked a turning point in the political life of the Grand Duchy. Before this date, the right to vote was subject to a poll tax. In other words, a certain amount of tax paid and restricted to a male population aged 25 and above. After the revision of 1919, all male and female citizens who had reached the age of 21 were given the right to vote, and voting age were reduced to 18. Okay, now I'm going to talk about political system in Luxembourg. The Grand Duchy of Luxembourg is a parliamentary democracy within a framework of constitutional monarch, with a hereditary crown that belongs to the House of Nassau. The Grand Duke is a head of state. As in all parliamentary democracies, the separation power is flexible in Luxembourg. There are many links between the legislative and executive power, but only the judicial power is totally independent. The executive power rests with the Grand Duke represented by his government. Being a constitutional monarch, the Grand Duke role is largely symbolic. Legislative power is handled by the Chamber of Deputies, a single chamber parliament whose members are elected every 5 years. The judicial power, which is completely independent from the two other branches, is exercised by courts at different judicial levels. In legislative power, the legislative power is exercised by the Chamber of Deputies. The Chamber of Deputies passes law according to the procedural form set out by the Constitution and specified by its in-house rule of procedure. It shares the right of initiative and legislative matters with the Grand Duke, who exercises it through the government. In executive power, the Grand Duke is the head of state. Under the Constitution, the Grand Duke holds the executive power. As such, he ensures the implementation of laws making regulations are required. In practice, however, this task is performed by the government, which takes the decision and initiatives are required. Moreover, the Grand Duke represents the Grand Duchy at international level. Meanwhile, in the judicial power, the The first constitution provides that judicial power is exercised by the courts and tribunals. They are independent in the exercise their functions. There are two branches of jurisdiction in Luxembourg. Number one is a judicial branch dealing with the civil disputes of a penal nature and disputes regarding political rights. Number two is a constitutional court's rules on the conformity of laws with the Constitution. In the Grand Duchy, voting is a compulsory act of citizenship. Parliamentary elections are held every 5 years. The 60 members of the Chamber of Deputies are elected by universal of suffrage and proportional representation. After that, at municipal elections, municipal councillors are elected directly by the inhabitants of the municipality for the 6-year term of office. Every 5 years, Luxembourgese nationals have the right to vote and to stand as a candidate in elections from the age of 18. Since December 2018, a coalition government comprising the Democratic Party (DP) and the Luxembourg Socialist Worker Party (LSAP) and the Green Party has been in office.